what this is it's a savings account, but it has a couple of extra benefits or features to it, which allows you to grow the funds. So you can invest it, and then you can use those monies and any earnings on the account tax-free for qualified expenses, and in this case, for your beneficiary, your son. So how this works,
there's a lot of expenses that it seems to cover, though. Like, I was surprised by the list.
Yeah, which is fantastic, because let's compare this to, say, a college savings account, right? Which works very similarly. They call it a 529 plan. You can save for college, you can invest that money for college. But when you take the money out, the IRS has certain rules on how you can use the money, and it can only be used for qualified educational expenses. And typically that's only room and board and tuition. And in recent years, they've been fighting to sort of change that to even include getting a laptop for your student as a qualifying expense. But if you don't use the funds specifically for college, and you take those monies out, it'll be taxable. So then it defeats the whole purpose. But like Christina was saying, here with this account, it's a long-term investment and savings vehicle where if you use the monies for your son's disability-related expenses, it can be used tax-free. So let's say you put in $100 and over time that grew to $1,000, right? If you wanted to take out that $900 worth of growth, and maybe he had educational expenses, maybe he had health related expenses, and I'll go over sort of the list of things you can use it for. You could use that $900 without paying any taxes on it. So the growth on the account is tax-free. Okay, so the way that it works is if you open an account, you can open the account online at CalABLE, right, ca.gov. You can put in up to $15,000 a year of contributions. Okay, so from 0 to 15,000. Okay, now one of the very first benefits of the account is that a lot of people, like we've talked about before, even in our workshops, are very fearful of saving, right? Very fearful of opening an IRA, very fearful of having any sort of retirement assets because they feel like it will work against them if they have to show that they have savings or they have accumulated assets when it comes to qualifying for certain public assistance programs, right? So whether it's reduced rent in, say, a family promise program or a BHC program, or whether it's Medi-Cal or some other social welfare program, having to show that you have assets could potentially disqualify you. So a lot of people don't take advantage of something like this, right? So they're like, well, if I save, I'll just put cash under my mattress, right? But then that doesn't give you as many benefits. So one of the very first benefit of this account is that you can put over time up to $100,000 in the account, and it will not affect any of your son's disability benefits, right? So it won't disqualify you from Social Security insurance. It won't disqualify him from Social Security disability insurance, Medi-Cal, because those programs, a lot of those programs, you have to show minimal assets. But this is one of those things where you could have up to 100,000 and they won't look at it negatively. So that's a great feature of this account. Like I said, the second feature is, or the second benefit is the earnings can grow tax-free. So as it grows, as you accumulate more, you're not taxed on it every year. And then when you take those funds out and use it for your son, they're tax-free. Now, if you take funds out because you want to go buy a car, that's different. So at the time when you take a withdrawal or a distribution, CalABLE is probably going to give you paperwork or forms to prove to the state and to the IRS, to prove to the federal government that you're using the funds for these qualified expenses. Okay, so we just have to prove that you're using it in the right way. Okay, so for you to be eligible to open one of these accounts, right, the individual, in this case your son, has to be diagnosed with a disability before the age of 26. And we know he's not 26. So we're good. We're good with that, right? So he also has to be receiving either Social Security insurance or Social Security disability insurance. Does he receive any of those payments? He does. Okay, good. So we're, so far so good. We're checking all the boxes, right? So here's what qualified expenses this account can cover tax-free. Okay, and there's a whole list of them, and you can see them on the website when you go there. But I just want to cover a number of them because, like Christina was saying, it actually covers quite a bit, which I think is another good reason why, if you are thinking of, hey, this might be a good way to save for my son, it could be really beneficial because it's very, very flexible. And a lot of times why people don't use the college savings accounts is because it can only be used for college. But what if my son doesn't go to college? Or what if I want to use it for my daughter's wedding? Then I would be penalized, right? So yeah, so here you can use it for his education, any educational expenses from preschool all the way through college. Yeah, so, and I don't mean just tuition. That could be any books, any supplies. Maybe he needs a computer. Maybe he needs a specialized computer.
Right.
Maybe he needs a device that reads to him. That would be covered, right? As he grows up, as he becomes more and more independent, and you're thinking of helping transition him maybe to even living on his own or living in some sort of transitional housing to help him move to independence.
Right.
This account can be used for housing, for rent, right? It could be used to pay utilities. It could be used to even purchase a home for him. Let's say, I don't know, you were going to rent a place or buy a place and you needed to make improvements on the place so that it was, how do I want to say this? Like outfitted, yeah, accessible for him and whatever his needs were. The funds could be used to do that remodeling, to do that construction, to make those improvements, which I think is really cool.
But there's a but to that, isn't there? Like if you withdraw money for housing expenses, it could affect your SSI. Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
There is a caveat.
I'm sorry. Did you not get there yet, Brian? I'm sorry.
Oh no. It's okay. I'm glad you're bringing that up. There is a caveat to that, and they explain that it's possible that if you're using the funds for housing, it could affect your Social Security disability insurance benefits. The reason is because those benefits are typically used for housing. That's the purpose of them, right?
They say to use it within the month that you withdraw it, if it's for housing. right?
Correct. That's right. So a lot of the federal benefits, like disability income, is meant to cover monthly living expenses, like housing. So if you were getting that and you're taking money out from CalABLE for housing, they say, okay, wait a second.
Double dipping.
Yeah, double dipping. Now we don't know, how you're using funds from both of these sources. So they do have that one sort of disclosure. Okay, Arlene?
You say he can use to buy a house? You
Yeah.
say that?
Yep.
No?
Yes, he can.
Oh, he can. Oh, okay. That is my idea, to be independent.
Yeah. So even if you don't end up purchasing something for him, you can even use those funds for rent.
Okay.
Right? So even if you got him his own apartment.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Another very flexible expense that you can use it for is his transportation.
Oh.
So if you have to use mass transit or public transportation, if you have to buy him a vehicle, right? Or in order for him to have a car, maybe he needs it to be have accommodation so he can drive it. You can use the funds to get the car modified.
Oh.
Yeah. If he needs even private transportation, like he's taking Uber, he's taking a taxi, it can be used for that. Now, at that time, you're probably going to want to be really strict about your record keeping.
Okay. I'm good on it.
Yeah, in terms of like receipts.
Yes.
Because again, you're going to have to prove to the state and to the federal government that money is not taxable because it was used for these specific things.
Okay.
So you want to have a paper trail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also too, let's say you want him to get a part-time job. You want him to have his first work experience. Anything that is related to employment, getting a job, finding a career, maybe he needs assistance. Maybe he needs somebody for job training, somebody to do his resume, help him with his resume. You can pay for those expenses with this fund. Yeah.
Or you could just come and, use my services and I'd be happy to help you for free. I'm just saying.
There we go.
Thank you.
There we go. So Christina will help you save on that so that you can then buy him a
Put
house.
the money for something else. Yep, exactly.
Now, you'll want to check on this part a little bit more specifically. You can use the funds for healthcare and medical expenses.
Oh.
But if you already have healthcare and medical coverage, insurance, whether it's through your employer, whether you're purchasing it privately, whether it's Medi-Cal, Medicare, whatever form you're getting that in, you may not want to use funds from CalABLE if it can be covered through something you already have.
Good.
So I wouldn't necessarily rush to cover any of his medical expenses with things that you currently have that could cover it. So first, I would go and default and use your primary insurance first for this. And then perhaps what is not covered or is coming out of pocket, you can use this fund for.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe he needs therapy that is not being covered, right? So I don't know, maybe he's getting physical therapy and that's covered, and then maybe he's having language development problems and you need a speech therapist. I don't know, I'm just randomly giving you an example. You could potentially use the funds for speech therapy.
Okay.
Right, but again, I would always check with your primary insurance first to see what's covered, what's not covered before you go spending this.
And the regional center too.
Right. The last thing I want to mention in terms of qualified expenses is if he needs technology. if he needs assistive technology, okay? Maybe he needs equipment, adaptive equipment. Anything to give him the ability to make his life easier. This equipment can also be covered out of the fund.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the catch. Like, it just sounds too good to be true.
You know, and typically I think under other circumstances, like a 529 college savings plan or some other, you know, private account or some other account that we could potentially get, there would be a catch.
Right.
Like, we know that we can take money out of our IRAs, but if we do it before 59.5, the catch is we're penalized 10%.
Right.
Plus taxes. So like there's always something
Yeah.
that's going to come and bite us, right? But I think because this was created by the state, it's run by the state, right? So you can't just go to Wells Fargo right now and open up a CalABLE account through Wells Fargo. You got to go through the state of California. I think because of that, we're not finding these loopholes that we think are gonna, you know, bite us in the end,
Right.
and get us. So it is a very, though, sort of specific niche account.
Right.
You know, in Arlene's case, it fits perfectly because of her son. So you can put, Arlene, again, anywhere from 0 to 15,000 in contributions per year into the account. And what they do, almost like a work 401k, is they have investment options that you can choose from conservative to aggressive, that will try to grow the funds. The expenses are low. I think the only expense that I saw, at least from the plan, is there is an annual fee. I think it's $37 per year for them to administer the plan. So there is that cost to it.
It's included in the CalABLE. I can choose that, right?
Yes, that's correct. And
the website is really user friendly too, I'd like to add.
Totally.
It's super easy to navigate and to get around, and the options are right in front of you. So
yeah. And I think, Arlene, because I know zero Spanish, I think you can convert their site to Spanish.
Yeah, that is my question.
But it's not.
To compare some words I don't understand.
Yeah,
and
no.
I can read English. It's good for me. I understand a lot.
We can, but if not, we have someone that could actually translate it.
Perfect.
For you, or like if there's pieces to it that you need more understanding. Yeah, our program manager, her mom, does all of that for us. If
that's
needed,
right.
So, just so you know.
Yeah. And the other thing, they have what they call CalABLE ambassadors. So you could probably call and get somebody who speaks Spanish.
Oh.
Probably very, very easily.
Yeah.
Or you could do that, you know.
Yeah. The other thing that I was going to tell you, Arlene, just because I'm looking at the website real quick. They have an upcoming webinar or presentation, July 15th.
Oh.
It's right on the homepage of the website, Arlen. You can just click the submit to register button.
Yeah. July 15th at 2 o'clock, they have an Ask an Expert, where I'm sure they'll go through all the specifics of how the account works.
Oh, wow.
You can submit questions there as well. If you have questions that you wanted to answer, when you go to register, they'll give you a little spot there to ask those questions.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think after you find out more about it, I think this would be really beneficial for your son. And I think it would be one of those things where you could sort of look back, you know, by the time he's 18, by the time he's 21, and say, you know what, during those crazy times of COVID, I did, you know, something right for my son. I opened this account. I maybe only put in $25, $10, but I got it started. And because of that, you know, at that time, you have this nice, you know, little bucket of money that you can use for him, which I think would be amazing.
Right. I have a
Bring it to our
question.
attention though, because I didn't know anything about it either. So, but I think
Yeah.
there's other families the same that they're in the same position as you are, but now that it's like one additional resource we have.
Yeah. Do you know, do I have to pay a monthly payment to get that benefit, that CalABLE, or just put money and put money?
It's
Yeah,
just a
so
one-time year fee, right?
So what you can do is you can set up automatic contributions monthly if you wanted to, or when you have some savings or some money that you want to put into it, you can just make that one-time contribution. So they're going to be very flexible about how you contribute. So they're not going to force you to do it every single month. It's when you can and when you want to.
Flexible, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good. Good.
Yeah, because
advice.
yeah, sometimes that's scary for people if they're like, this sounds great, I totally want to do it, but I don't want to get stuck in something that is requiring me to do this when maybe some months I can't.
Right.
So yeah, it's flexible and you choose when and how much you want to contribute.
That's good.
Yeah, because maybe some years you only end up putting in $100. Maybe other years it's 300. Maybe some years it's 0. It just depends on how your budgeting is going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think, and again, one of the biggest things is that it doesn't affect or take anything away from any benefits that he's currently receiving. Because I think that's the greatest fear of a lot of parents and a lot of individuals when it comes to benefits is, I have something, I don't want it taken away. So I want to do something good for him, but I don't want it to ruin other things. And this won't.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it.
Yeah. Well, now you know, now we know, and now hopefully somebody else asks us about it.
Okay. I will try to see the calable.ca.gov, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. I will try to see.
Yeah.
Maybe they have more info
Yes.
for me, a phone number, and I have to do it through them, right?
Yes.
In the fetch, right? Okay.
You have to do it through them. There's a link right on the homepage to open an account. You open the account online.
Okay.
Yep. And even if, I'm sure one of those ambassadors, even if you decided to open the account, they would walk you through it over the phone.
Oh, good. Oh,
Yeah.
good. Oh, wow. Okay. That's good information. Thank you so much.
Are you doing, is everything else okay?
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I was looking for more kind of benefit for him. I don't have the name now. Like if something happened to me, if I have properties to get him, you know, without any complicated stuff for him. I want to make sure what do I have to do, or who can do it besides, you know, I'm not here.
Yeah.
And I have to look at that. I don't know what's the name, where do I have to go? I have to see first.
Typically, just in my experience, something that parents of children that have special needs, they're definitely worried about, what if something happens to me? Like, who's going to take care of my son? How's he going to take care of himself? Like, so you have like 2 jobs. you're
Yeah.
having to take care of him now and also worry about taking care of him later too, right?
Right.
So a lot of parents will open what's called a special needs trust.
That was I was looking the right name. What is that special you say?
Special needs trust.
Special. Okay.
So
Okay.
it's like a will and a trust, but it's
Okay.
specifically a legal document that outlines in the event something were to happen to you, God forbid, right? It gives you the ability to outline legally who takes care of your son, right? You can name someone who has the legal responsibility to look after your son. You can also put other sort of criteria or directives in that trust to say, these are the accounts that I have for him, right? So maybe he has a checking account. Maybe he has this CalABLE account. These are the resources that I have to take care of him. This is how I want the monies used for him.
Okay.
So you have to get this set up through an attorney.
That was my question. Just I had to use the lawyer, right?
Yes, you do.
Not for CalABLE. CalABLE I can do by myself.
You could just do it individually,
Okay.
all on your own.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But to have a trust, you need a lawyer to draw up this document and sit with you and figure out what do you want, you know, if something were to happen to you, how do you want your son taken care of so that they can legally format that in the trust.
Do you think, can I use, if I have the CalABLE, I can use that money to do the special needs trust? Because I know it's a lot of money for this kind of.
Sure.
Yes.
That may be.
Legal fees are in there on the miscellaneous
legal
expenses.
fees. Uh-huh.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
So.
good.
Mhm.
Yay.
I like it.
Yeah.
I will share with friends. I have a lot of friends with the special kids, a lot different kind of diagnostic, and I have a group of them. I will share with them this kind of information. It's really good.
Good. And it's
Thank
good to
you.
hear that you are a part of a community of people that you know, are all sort of experiencing the same sort of thing in raising special needs children. So yeah, you've probably heard some of this stuff before from other people, and so I'm glad that you're like trying to figure out what's what and like what you can do going forward to help your son.
Right.
How old is he now?
He's 11.
Yeah, he's 11. So I think you're right. He's sort of right at that age now where he's almost going to be a teenager, and getting this sort of thing like straightened out for yourself,
Right.
you know, with the special needs trust, with maybe saving for him long term, is a good idea.
Okay. Do you know any? Oh, okay. I had to look at for a lawyer to see the special need truth.
Yeah.
But do you have any web page to read about it? Something?
Oh, to read about special needs trust?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's what I can do. I think I saw your email address in the Zoom link email, Christina. I think that's where I saw it.
It's gonna throw you. It says Gloria, not Arlen, though, so that's her.
Yeah. Arlene, yours is the Gloria one, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'll do then is I'll just gather up some info and links on special needs trusts, and I'll just email that to you.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and I think the last thing I'll say about that is I think if you decide to ultimately, you know, look into opening one, that you don't just use any lawyer, because lawyers specialize in all kinds of different things. So just because, you know, they're a lawyer doesn't mean they're good at special needs and understanding what you're going to need for your son.
Right.
You know, maybe they're an expert in bankruptcy, but that doesn't, you know, make them an expert in children with disabilities. So let me see too, and I don't know, Christina, if you have a list of legal resources at all?
I don't personally, but I know Carrie is the program manager. She's got her hands on a lot of that kind of information. So I made a note to find out. See what I can find out for you, Arlen.
Yeah, Arlene, I think between both Christina and I, we can end up giving you enough to get going and to get started, so that you have info about special needs trusts, and then we could even get you either the names of local attorneys in the area or even organizations in the area that can direct you to the right kind of attorney for it.
Okay, that's good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Yay.
So in that trust, you can sort of outline financially how he'll be taken care of. You can name somebody who will take care of him. You can even outline what you want in terms of his health care and his medical needs. Like, you'll still have, I think it'll make you feel really good that in the event something were to happen to you, you would have the peace of mind of knowing that he is taken care of the way you want it to be.
Right.
And not a situation of like, well, the state ends up, you know, deciding what's going to happen to him. You know, I don't want them to make that decision. I want you to make that decision. So
I know.
Yeah.
I talk to every time with my daughter. I have a daughter. She's 27.
Okay.
And I talk to her about it, but you know, I don't have a lot of information about this because she has to know. I have this for your brother.
Right.
If something happened to me.
Yes.
I just have my life insurance, but she says, Mommy, I know what to do with the life insurance if something happened to you, but I want to talk to her about this too because she doesn't know, you know, she's not involved a lot.
Right. No, and I'm glad you bring up your daughter too, because it is actually helping your son, but it's actually helping your daughter too, because it will be an outline of what she needs to do and how things are going to happen. So she's not just guessing what has to happen.
Yes.
And she could always go to that attorney if you weren't around and continue to get that legal help in terms of carrying out that trust. So it's not just helping your son. That's what I'm trying to say. It's helping a lot more people.
I know. I know. I
good.
have to involve more in this kind of information because I just hear the name special need trust, but I don't know how handle this. How is it exactly?
Yeah.
But that's good advice from you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, of course. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the call. Yeah, are there any other questions that we can answer? Maybe it's related to other personal finance stuff.
Not really. You know about houses, to buy houses or the
That's like a whole session there.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you thinking about it?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Woo,
okay.
All right.
So I think probably the best thing that I could say right now is that what we should probably do is do actually a workshop on that in terms of not just the process of home buying, but actually there's a process leading up to it that you have to consider to know that it's going to be the right decision for you before you actually go and do that. And I've done several of those presentations before. So maybe what we do, and you know, the title of this one and the next one was, you know, restoring financial wellness after COVID. Yeah, well, Christina and I were being optimistic back in March and April, thinking that we would be coming out of it at this point, right? But we know that that's not the case. So maybe what we do in some future ones is maybe address very like singular specific topics like home buying and sort of making that transition. because if you're getting prepared for that, that would be amazing.
Yes, yes, I'm ready.
Oh, good.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's part of the, I think here where I live, the people has to be ready to do that in the future,
Sure.
right? Because we don't have the exactly information, because it's a lot of information and I don't know where do I have to go to see what is that, what is this. Oh my goodness, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But maybe you guys can help a little bit, or
Sure.
We can help for sure.
Yeah.
oh, good,
Yeah.
good.
That's our goal. We want to see you get your own place in your own house and make
Oh,
that
Yeah.
move. That's
thank you.
that's the goal.
Yeah. That would
Yeah.
be amazing.
Right.
Okay. Well, then Christina and I will work on, getting that into the future schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, good, good.
Okay. All right, Arlene, thank you so much for coming on
Thank
today.
you so
seeing you.
Thank you,
much for
guys.
everything.
Okay. Have a
A lot
great
of
weekend.
information. Thank
Oh,
you.
Okay.
you're
See you
welcome.
next time.
Take care.
Thank
Okay.
you,
Bye.
Christina.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.